If you never visited Epcot before 2010, you need to brace yourself for everything you missed before then. You think Epcot's going through a big transformation now? You have no idea what it used to be like. Hey everybody, it's Chris for AllEars.net. We are going to journey through time in order for you to weigh in on whether or not you think Epcot's old edutainment vibe was better than the modern combo of intellectual properties and culture, and food, and drinks. As always, the result of this showdown comes straight from AllEars.net readers and social media followers. We asked our readers whether they prefer the old or the new, and you might be surprised by their thoughts. There are a few big changes that mark the difference between then and now in Epcot, and for the sake of comparison, we're breaking down this retrospective look into three key categories: history, food, and attractions. First up, Epcot then. Epcot opened on October 1st, 1982, exactly 11 years after Magic Kingdom opened. It was originally known as Epcot Center, and it was the second Disney World park to open. Epcot is 300 acres, over twice the size of Magic Kingdom. Originally, Walt Disney conceived of Epcot as a planned city or community. It stands for Experimental Prototype Community of Tomorrow. And the vision was that it would include schools, mass transit, residential areas, shopping, and more. This plan was never brought to life, and after Walt's death, the plan for Epcot was reimagined as a park filled with world nations, edutainment, and innovation. The park was renamed to just Epcot in 1994, and the acronym and center were officially dropped. Epcot's park icon has always been Spaceship Earth, a giant geodesic sphere.
I wasn't alive much for old-timey Epcot. Old-timey, ye old Epcot. I do remember Interventions. I remember the Wonders of Life Pavilion and all of the wonders inside. I certainly remember old Test Track, like Test Dummy Test Track. I know I rode Spaceship Earth because my mom always talks about how I was really scared of the dark when I was a little kid. That hasn't changed. And I had to ride, they were riding Spaceship Earth and it broke down at like a pitch black part. And my parents were freaking out because they were so scared I was gonna start screaming. And I didn't. Wanna know why? Because I had the comfort of the Phoenicians. And Rome burning.
Reader Kathy R. said, "I'm very nostalgic and long for the days when Epcot was new. But I do like many of the newer rides too. Just wish there was room for everything and we didn't have to lose older stuff to make room for the new."
It's no secret. I am obsessed with Epcot, and I am most obsessed with old Epcot. I'm obsessed with the Epcot that had Universe of Energy and Horizons and World of Motion and Listen to the Land and Food Rocks and Kitchen Cabaret and the original Journey into Imagination and the Living Seas. I miss all of the original Future World rides and attractions, and the thing I miss most about them, the theme songs. Visiting Epcot was hearing original songs that related to the rides and attractions, and that was something that made it so different and unique to me. I mean, of course, there are other rides in other parks that have their own songs, and the Sherman Brothers were responsible for some of the most iconic ones, but there was something about going to a theme park where every ride had its own song. Old Epcot, I miss you, I love you, and I hope someday we can have a little bit more of you back. At least the feeling and the vibe and the idea.
When it comes to food, many of the restaurants you know and love are still in Epcot in some form. Le Cellier originally opened as a wine cellar of Hotel du Canada with quick service dishes like salmon and maple syrup pie. It didn't become Le Cellier until 1997. Garden Grill was an opening day restaurant, known then as the Good Turn Restaurant.
And yes, present day Farmer Mickey is good, but old Farmer Mickey was better. And I know this, I'm practically an expert on this because I literally have yearly photos with Farmer Mickey or the other characters from Garden Grill because we went pretty much yearly to Garden Grill to see Farmer Mickey. So basically Farmer Mickey was a formative member of my development as a child, and that's why I am like I am today. I credit it to Farmer Mickey and my parents. Farmer Mickey's basically my third parent.
Les Chefs de France also opened on Epcot opening day. Run by legendary French chefs, I will not butcher these names, therefore I'll just say Roger, Gaston, and Paul. And San Angel Inn is another opening day restaurant, and Coral Reef, which opened in 1986 in what is now known as the Seas Pavilion. In 1994 and 1995, seasonal events like the Flower and Garden Festival and the Food and Wine Festival were introduced. Other seasonal festivals came later.
Oh, you want to know about old Epcot food? Well, it's certainly better than this $10 avocado toast at an airport. This is what I look like when I'm flying in a red-eye.
Most opening day attractions in Epcot were films and shows, not rides. The World Showcase opened with 9 pavilions, with Morocco added in 1984, followed by Norway in 1988. Opening day rides included Livin' with the Land, known then as Listen to the Land, Spaceship Earth, and El Rio del Tiempo, which is now Grand Fiesta Tour. And that was pretty much it in terms of rides. Future World originally had 6 pavilions surrounding a central area called the Communicore, where you could simultaneously play and learn. The pavilions themselves were sponsored by corporations for funding purposes. Attractions included the World of Motion, Horizons, and the Universe of Energy, which, for me personally, had one of the most unique, entertaining, and all-around coolest pre-shows in Disney history.
Yes, Horizons. I can't let it go. It was too good a ride, and if you'd have seen it, you would understand. It told the history of futurism. It told the history of the future, starting with Jules Verne and going through the different ways that we've envisioned the future throughout time, and then leading to the Imagineer's own vision of what the future might be like. And we ended up having a lot of this stuff come true, including video conferencing, okay? Zoom calls or Google Meet or whatever service you use, they show a birthday party where grandparents are able to attend the birthday party of their grandchild through the magic of teleconferencing, video calls, whatever you want to call it. But they fantasized that this would come true, and guess what? It did. Have you ever looked beyond today into the future? That's what they did. The theme song did not lie, and we had these things come true. No one's living under the sea yet that I know of, but Horizons, come on. Beautiful ride that we lost, and now we've got Mission Space, and I don't hate Mission Space. I actually think it's technologically impressive and a really cool experience that you can simulate taking off for space in a theme park, and it feels almost as real as if you were really doing it and a real astronaut. But I can't let go of Horizons. I'm sorry. Not going to let go of Horizons. I refuse.
Epcot added more attractions in the 80s and 90s, and the 1990s marked the time when Disney began phasing out edutainment attractions and adding more modern thrill rides. And many Future World attractions were refurbished or replaced. Journey into Imagination with Figment was added in 1983, followed by attractions like Maelstrom, Body Wars, Cranium Command, Innoventions, Michael Jackson's Captain EO, and Ellen's Energy Adventure, among others.
To this day, the trauma of Body Wars still stays with me. It was a trip inside the human body, but I think it was something where there was a splinter and you had to go in, and I barely can even talk about it. Body Wars was terrifying. It was basically the ride system of Star Wars, but without any of the lovely Star Wars creatures, and instead it was you going inside of a human body, and it was as gross as it sounds.
AllEars reader Nancy J said, 1,000 times past. It's a shell of its former self. I miss educational types of attractions that were really fun and interesting and completely different from what you would find in any other theme park.
I'm in California shooting some other content, and I just rode Soarin' Over California, which they're playing here for a limited time. And yeah, it's way better than Soarin' Around the World. I don't understand why that ride doesn't change more often. Just go shoot some new B-roll. It can't be that hard to update that attraction. I think this version is much better. The smells are better, the transitions are better, there's less CGI. I also miss old school Test Track. This new version of Test Track just doesn't do it for me the way that 7 did. So I'm ready for some new rides in Epcot. I love Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. I'm excited for Guardians of the Galaxy. We need some upgrades over there.
The 2000s included big changes for Journey into Imagination with Figment in 1999, along with the addition of Mission Space, The Seas with Nemo and Friends, and the Seas Pavilion rebrand in 2005, along with the opening of Soarin' and Test Track in 1999. First sponsored by General Motors and later Chevrolet in 2012.
Test Track was my jam back in the day. Like before they revamped it and made it bad, it's fine. It's okay now. I enjoy Test Track. But with the test dummies were my jam. I met Lumpy the test dummy because you used to be able to meet them, which horrifying. Cranium Command. I loved Cranium Command and Buzzy. Like that. They should have, instead of making Inside Out, they should have made Cranium Command. Cranium Command was the best. Like that. Oh, it was so good. I don't remember much about it, but I remember going hard for some Cranium Command and like feeling like I was in a head. I was like, I'm Osmosis Jones. I've sunk down to the size of a germ and I'm in somebody's head. I felt like I was on the Magic School Bus in Cranium Command. Like Cranium Command, replace Buzzy with Miss Frizzle would have been the Magic School Bus. Like literally, I felt like I was on the Magic School Bus, and that was important to me. Anyway, they should bring back Cranium Command and they should bring back old Test Track because I miss Lumpy and I miss Buzzy. So, bring them back.
The pros. While the idea of Epcot as an experimental community was part of Walt Disney's vision, it was the Imagineers that took that community to represent the whole Earth with the creation of the original World Showcase, which was the perfect balance for the edutainment attractions, which offered guests more than just dark rides. The cons. Epcot initially had very few rides spread over just 2 lands, which took up a space twice the size of Magic Kingdom, which meant a lot of walking with less to do along the way. Before we leap to the future, head over to AllEars socials on Facebook and Instagram for more Disney World throwdowns, and AllEars.net to leave your reviews for everything Disney parks related, hotels, restaurants, rides, and more. AllEars.net is there for you to share your experiences and opinions with your fellow readers. Next up, Epcot Now. After all the changes in the 1990s and 2000s, Disney announced multi-year Epcot transformation plans in 2016, which are still taking place today in 2022. This transformation involved big neighborhood changes, with the 4 neighborhoods of Future World divided into 3 areas known as World Celebration, World Discovery, and World Nature. Reader Paula S. said, "The past is preferred when it's hard to see what the present looks like, as it's in such a state of transition every day."
I'm actually really excited for what's to come with the Epcot transformation. I think there's still a lot of work left. However, I think there's going to be some really fun new rides added, like Cosmic Rewind. I'm super excited for things like Moana Journey into Water, and overall, I think it's going to be really an interesting addition to Epcot. I think it's going to make it completely different than we have seen it in recent years.
A new nighttime show, Harmonious, debuted for Disney World's 50th anniversary, along with an expansion to the France Pavilion with a new ride and new restaurant. And the new Epcot flagship store Creation Shop opened in the now World Celebration neighborhood. Possibly one of the biggest Epcot controversies has been the addition of intellectual properties in the World Showcase, which we'll get into in a bit. The Epcot transformation has led to the closure of the quick-service Electric Umbrella, and the new fast casual restaurant Connections Cafe and Eatery will be opening soon. Space 220 opened in 2021, following years of delays, as did La Crêperie de Paris, and Club Cool reopened with a new look. Even before the transformation, Les Artisans de Glace and Les All Patisserie, I'm sure I butchered that as well, opened in 2013, and they've added some delicious goodies to the France Pavilion. Still, reader Tracy D said, "The more they change, the less time we have spent there on recent trips."
How do I feel about dining in Epcot now? It's way better. Not only have you added the Festival of the Arts in the past few years, which started out as just a weekend festival, and now it's a full festival to kick off the year. There's basically no days in Epcot anymore. Oh gosh, it's so bright. Why did I take my sunglasses off? There's basically no days in Epcot that don't have a festival, which to some people is a problem, but I love festivals, so I think it's a lot of fun. You've got the expansion on the bakery in France, which I only don't like because more people know about it now. You've got new Club Cool, which the floors aren't sticky enough for it to really be Club Cool to me, but give it time. You've also got Connections, which It's a fine quick service. It's pretty good as far as quick service pizza and burgers go, but it doesn't really belong in Epcot to me. It's not the park that needed a new quick service. So that's my kind of one fault with current Epcot food. Other than that, they just keep adding more delicious things in World Showcase. They keep mixing it up with the festival. So yeah, you can't go wrong eating at Epcot. And if you'll excuse me, I gotta continue my walk with my beasts.
If you want to talk Epcot controversy, bring up Journey into Imagination with Figment and the iconic Dreamfinder. The ride opened in 1983 with its original iteration with Figment and the Dreamfinder in their quest to collect dreams and ideas. In 1999, the ride was reopened with some big changes, namely the erasure of the Dreamfinder and Figment. After negative reviews, the ride was refurbished again and reopened in 2002 as what we still see today. Figment returned, but the Dreamfinder, not so much.
So I am someone who actually never got to ride the original iteration of Journey into Imagination, and that makes me very sad because I, knowing what I know of Dreamfinder, would have loved Dreamfinder. I think that the most recent one, the one that we are currently cursed with, is not very good. I think that really what people loved was the original, and that's why it still has so much nostalgia, but as it is now, I mean, I'm a Monty Python fan, but Eric Idle is not so good enough.
Even more Epcot controversy surrounds the decision to add intellectual properties to the World Showcase beginning in 2016 with Frozen Ever After, which replaced Maelstrom. Remy's Ratatouille Adventure added more IP to the France Pavilion in 2021, and Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind will bring Marvel to Epcot in 2022. Part of the Epcot transformation also includes the future editions of the Play Pavilion and more IP with the Moana Journey of Water attraction. And of course, the construction continues on today.
They were pretty sneaky about how they added IP into World Showcase. They started with a ride called El Rio del Tiempo, which was the original boat ride inside the Mexico Pavilion. They announced that they would be adding the Three Caballeros, which Three Caballeros are really classic Disney IP, and nobody was like a super huge mega fan of this original ride anyway, so the fans let it slide and kind of celebrated it. But then they announced they were going to do the same thing to the Maelstrom in the Norway Pavilion and replace it with Frozen Ever After, and that is when the outrage was expressed. But the precedent had been set. Even though everyone was cool with it, the Three Caballeros had already entered the Mexico Pavilion, turning their ride into the Grand Fiesta Tour starring the Three Caballeros, so there was only so much we could say, you know? We had to let it go.
Obviously, Epcot has like super changed in the past 20 years. And that's like very, very apparent. A lot of the change has kind of led to more IP being introduced in Epcot, less original concepts, fewer original concepts. And I definitely miss some of those original concepts like Cranium Command, like OG Test Track, like Kitchen Cabaret. You know, I love Journey into Imagination with Figment, which, by the way, I know I wasn't asked about this, but Journey into Imagination with Figment, I only have memories of the current iteration of the ride, and I love it. So when Molly is like, people don't like Journey into Imagination with Figment, I do. And maybe I have bad taste, but I didn't even know the Dreamfinder existed until I started working here. So I just liked Figment, and the current ride, the current iteration is what I liked. I still like it. I am the one person who likes Figment in its current iteration, I think.
And if you're someone who likes both the past and the present, reader Carolyn B. put it best. Past for the memories made, present for the memories yet to come. And while a lot of people might complain about all of the construction and disruption, it really was Walt's vision. The president of WED Enterprises said in this opening day of Epcot letter that was circulated to everyone involved in the project, Epcot Center is not finished today. We can all look forward in the years ahead to building upon this firm foundation. Epcot Center will continue to expand and grow. As Walt Disney said, Epcot Center is an experimental prototype community that will always be in a state of becoming. The pros? Epcot's evolution includes some exciting new additions, and if we're being honest, some of the biggest changes have been due to necessary updates. Plus, there's more to do, from rides to festivals to dining. The cons? The Epcot transformation has led to a huge amount of construction for years now. And while many Epcot fans hate the addition of IP and World Showcase, even more of them miss the edutainment aspect, which kept Epcot from feeling just like every other theme park. Before we reveal the then or now winner, give us a like, click on that thumbs up, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a video. And if you really want to be part of the fun, and trust me, it's fun, be sure to follow us on social media at AllEars.net, and you won't miss stuff like this. I told you it was fun. All right, got it? Good. On we go. Epcot has gone through a lot in 30 short years. According to our readers and social media followers, the winner of the Epcot then or now debate is the past. That's right, most of our readers feel nostalgic for the edutainment focus of Epcot's past, and the years-long construction has not made many fans of the present. Now we're going to do another one of these videos once Epcot's current transition is finally completed and see how we rate them. In the meantime, get your comments going now. This is Chris for AllEars.net. See you next time.